Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I apologize for not doing my Instagram live this morning. I was having some technical difficulties. My Instagram would just not work. It wouldn't come up. It wouldn't connect. I tried going in my car. I tried going somewhere else. It just wouldn't work. So I figured out how to, get on. And instead, I'm going to do it this afternoon versus this morning. Okay, so the topic that I'm going to focus on today is inclusive teaching models. And inclusive teaching model that I'm going to focus on is co-teaching. I'm going to discuss 4 different types of co-teaching models. So co-teaching is when you have a general ed teacher and a special education teacher teaching together in one classroom to instruct students. Now, the students that you have in the classroom are a mix of students. So you have general education students, you have some special education students, you may have some ELL, English language learner students. You have a bunch of different students in the room. And co-teaching is one of the effective teaching models that is used in an inclusive teaching, in an inclusive learning environment. Okay, so the different types of co-teaching that you have are parallel teaching, you have station teaching, you have alternative teaching, and you have one teach, one assist. Okay, so with the parallel teaching, the general ed teacher and the special education teacher are simultaneously teaching a particular subject or topic. So, for example, let's say if it's a math lesson, one teacher may do half of that lesson, the other teacher may do the other half of the lesson. So they're simultaneously teaching the lesson, doing different parts of that particular lesson. When they introduce it, and then coming in and out of the lesson, they each are partaking in that instruction. Now, with station teaching, that's when the teachers will break up their content into different stations in the classroom. So in elementary, there are different stations. There may be a puzzle station, there may be a coloring station, a reading station. When you break up your classroom into stations, one station may be you may have 2 or 3 independent working stations, and then the other 2 stations, one of the teachers will be at those stations to work with students who may need the help in that particular skill, or it may be a skill that the teachers want to teach in small groups, so that way all the students will be able to rotate to the different stations, and both teachers will be able to do a small group with their students. So that's a model of co-teaching. That is station teaching. Now, alternative technique teaching is when one of the teachers is leading the lesson and another teacher pulls a small group in the room to do that same lesson. The reason that teacher may be doing that is to break down the material in a more simplified manner, so that the students can understand what is being taught. So, and that doesn't mean that group she has is all IEP students. It doesn't mean that it's all IEP students. Even when the teachers are doing station teaching, the special ed teacher that has a group, that doesn't mean the students she has are IEP students. They're a mix of students. Okay? Now, one teach, one assist, that is when one teacher is teaching the lesson and another teacher is going around answering everyone's questions, making sure everyone's on task, making sure everyone is following along. Okay, so in co-teaching you have different ways that you can co-teach. So co-teaching is when you have 2 teachers instructing a class. So you'll have a general education teacher and you'll have a special education teacher. Now, the different types of co-teaching, you have station teaching, you have parallel teaching, you have alternative technique teaching, and you have one teach, one assist. Again, with the parallel teaching, the 2 teachers are teaching simultaneously that lesson. Station teaching, the teachers break up their lesson into stations in the classroom, and each teacher takes a station, so that way, as the students rotate the stations, the teacher will be able to work in a small group with all of the students in the class. Alternative technique teaching is when one teacher is teaching the whole class and another teacher pulls a smaller group to another area to teach the same lesson. And one teach, one assist is when a teacher is leading the lesson and the other teacher is going around answering students' questions, making sure everyone's following along and doing what they're supposed to do. And that does not mean that is the special education teacher doing the assist part. Okay, I hope this information was very helpful and informative for you. If you have any questions about anything I said on this live, feel free to send me a DM at Because of Her. Feel free to send me a Facebook message at my Because of Her page. Feel free to email me at jamila@becauseofher.info, and that is spelled JAM as in Mary, ILAH at becauseofher.info. Make sure you tune in to me next Friday, where I will discuss the importance of fostering a positive environment in order to have an inclusive classroom and to properly have inclusive teaching and have proper inclusive teaching models exhibited in a classroom, which you must do in order for this to be effective, because if you don't take the time to do it properly, it will be a disaster. So tune in next week and have a great weekend and have a great day. Assalamu alaikum.